All right, everybody. Welcome back to episode 11 of Panthers-Ranters podcast. We are back after a second bye week in our season, I guess you could say. We took the 4th off. Hope everybody watching and all of us had a happy 4th of July. So we are back after the holiday, and we've got some good topics to talk about. We're a month out of football season, so we're almost there to, completely talk straight up present news, but for a couple more weeks we're going to keep popping out ideas, so everybody stay tuned until we get right around the corner of football season. So let's hop right into it.
Welcome to Panthers-Ranters podcast. Kick back and enjoy news, topics, and more for your Panthers with your host Andrew and co-hosts Michael and Logan.
Also, we have a special guest on tonight. It's my best friend Lucas. He was just hanging out with us before the episode started, and Michael and Logan were kind enough to just let him join in. So we got Lucas on with us, and then obviously Michael and Logan. So how's everybody doing tonight? We took a break off from the 4th. Again, I hope everybody had a happy 4th. So how's everybody doing?
Yeah, it's the off season. We're just, making things go at this point.
Yeah. Hey, we're almost there. We've almost made it.
Yeah, less than 30 days.
That's right. Logan, how are you tonight, man?
Doing great. Had a chill 4th.
Awesome.
Welcome, Lucas. And pretty excited to talk about these very off-season topics.
Absolutely. Lucas, welcome in. How are you tonight, man?
Doing fantastic. Just had 5 guys.
Yeah, I'm having the greatest of days.
Awesome. That's great. Glad everybody's here. Everybody's doing good. So, if nobody has any quirky things to add before we get started, I guess we'll go ahead and hop right into our list of stuff tonight. So to start off, since we've missed a week, the Panthers have had, including I think it was today or yesterday, have had 3 more players make the top 100. So the national media is, I think, starting to finally recognize this a little bit. Obviously Bryce made it, T-Mac made it, Derek Brown made it, and now J.C. Horn's in there. So we have 4 so far of the top 100 players. I doubt we get any more. What do you guys think about that? Do you think anybody else will make it? I mean, I think I have a couple people that could. Don't think they will.
I think that'll be it.
I
think that'll be it.
I think that's it.
Yeah. I mean, you're only... What?
I'm sorry, man. You go ahead.
The only candidates that we really have that could make it are probably Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd. I don't think Jalen Phillips is making it just because of his sack total. And I think it was Jack Campbell, the linebacker from Detroit. He already made it, and he's considered to be the best linebacker in football. Yeah. So if he made it in like the 80s, I don't think Devin Lloyd is going to catch him and make it any earlier than him. So... And I don't think Mike Jackson has the name popularity just yet to make the top, 75 or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of with you on that. I know, like you said, Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips. For me, I don't technically count them because, that was last season. But if they do make it, that's great. Like you said, also, Mike Jackson, I think he would probably be the only other that had a chance to make it. And if for some wild reason one of our offensive linemen made it, like Lewis or Taylor, but I doubt they make it if all of our star players have already made it. I think from the Panthers side of things, we think they could make it. They're definitely like a huge piece to the offense, obviously. But if I had to put like a one player, if anybody else had to make it, it'd probably be Mike Jackson. But like you said, I don't think his name is going to pop up there enough. So.
Yeah,
certainly not ahead of the guys that have already made it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. I think the fact that Devin Lloyd, that last year was kind of his first really good year, probably going to keep him out of this. I saw some fans online that were kind of upset with like how low some of these players are for the Panthers. I actually think these are respectable enough positions. Jeffrey Simmons got what, like 80. 85 or
83.
Or 80,
I'm very happy he talks about that.
Yeah. So it's like, Derek Brown being 90 with that being the context doesn't seem that bad. And Horn got decently high up there. I don't know how many more spots I put him. I think if we were on a really good team, maybe they get up there like 5 or 10 more spots than they are now. But it's marginal. I'm just excited to have so many players on there.
I'll be honest. I was a little bit pissed off about Derek Brown.
Same.
I thought that was a pure snubbing where he got ranked until I saw that Jeffrey Simmons also got ranked,
Exactly.
in the top 90. And like at that point, that's not a Derek Brown like snubbing, that's a positional snubbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sucks for them if they're in the 80s when they probably should be like, in the upper 50s for the ranking. And I'll tell you what's going to make me mad is, Chris Lindstrom, the guard from the Falcons, he has consistently made like around the 50s every year, like the last 2 or 3 years, and Derek Brown absolutely fathers him every time we play them. So like that's what gets me. Like you clearly see Derek Brown as a better player, but yet because of his position, he's not getting ranked as high.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, looking back at it, it's not a Derek Brown problem. It was a interior defensive line, I guess,
right,
their ranking system on it. Because I was the same way. I even posted this on Twitter. I was like, no way there's 89 players better than Derek Brown in the NFL. There's not. But then when they put Simmons on there, I was like, okay, it's not just Brown. I was like, it's it's kind of across the interior defensive line. Because Derek Brown's an animal. And he's arguably, and obviously there's, a couple other, but he's arguably, in my opinion, the best interior D lineman in the league. Like you said, though, Simmons is obviously up there. He's one of them. And then when they came out with it, I seen it. I was like, okay. I was like, they're just snubbing all D linemen, not just Brown. So I was
he's
eased
at
up
least
a little bit, but
he's at least a top 2 run stuffing defensive tackle in the league.
100%.
Like I don't think it's very debatable.
No.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, I'll tell you what though. Like I'm, like you said, I'm happy we have 4 players that made this list. This is the most we've had since 2017, when we were a year removed from the Super Bowl. So it's definitely a very prominent achievement for this franchise to get that many players recognized on a list like this. Even though all of them are pretty much in the bottom 25, like it's still a win is a win. We'll take this.
Especially your quarterback being up there.
Yeah.
I think that was obviously the shock of all Panthers fans. Like, obviously, we know Bryce had a decent season last year. But going into the list, I did not think he was going to make it.
No, yeah, for sure. And if I had made this list, I would not have had T-Mac or Bryce Young.
I think I'd have had T-Mac. I don't think I'd have put Bryce in there.
Maybe I would have
too.
T-Mac. T-Mac would have been like in the 90s, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little hard to put a receiver in there after 1 year of production.
Yeah, like T-Mac was awesome, don't get me wrong, but it's like...
He was awesome,
I saw
yeah.
people, talking about how, man, if he had this kind of season last year, like the season before, he might not have been being like the top 5 for Offensive Rookie of the Year rankings. Like, there's a lot of good receivers in this league.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little surprised to see that. I guess maybe people think he's a little bit more impressive than even his 1,000-yard stat line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna jump
there's a
in
good
this year.
case for it.
I think this year's going to be even better, so 100%. Cool. So,
But yeah, good for us for finally getting our players recognized.
absolutely. I love it. I'm glad people are finally seeing, we have good players in Carolina. It's not just, they're just the same old Panthers as always. They've actually got some good players over there. Now, hopefully that doesn't kind of correlate to, the Panthers getting a primetime game, because, when we get primetime, we fall apart. So hopefully we don't get national media and then the whole season fall apart. That's just how Carolina football usually goes. So hopefully this year it's not the whole season falls apart. So, all right, going on to the next thing. So ESPN came out with their roster rankings across the entire board. Full, complete roster rankings. And out of 32 teams, the Panthers ranked 24th. So whoever would like to start on that, because obviously I've got a couple of things to say too, but I think that's a little low.
Yeah, this is a pretty common trend, I think, around the national media right now. We're not getting lumped with the bottom of the barrel anymore, so hooray to that. But nobody wants to call us an actual good team yet. And on the one hand, I do understand, like, there are questions on our offense, and there's some guys that are kind of turning into stars but aren't quite there yet, and star power really runs things in this league. But I also think, man, I don't know how much else they want us to add to this team before they actually will start calling it a good team. I mean, our weaknesses clearly at this point are what? Maybe linebacker 2, free safety. I could think of a lot of teams ranked above 24 that have pretty glaring weaknesses that are worse than that. So, I understand we got some stuff to prove this year, but
I'm glad you mentioned that. So here's some teams that made it ahead of the Panthers. So the Giants landed at 23. The Commanders landed at 21. The Colts were at 20. The Steelers are at 19. The Bucks are at 18.
Man,
the Cowboys are at 14.
Dude, I mean,
like,
I know the Cowboys got a potent offense, but 14. Yeah, dude, they still have glaring weaknesses on defense. I don't know, man. I just think
they lost to the Cardinals last year.
Even the Bengals are 15th, and their defense is terrible.
Yeah, I can at least I can at least understand the Bears or the Bengals at 15 like that. You have Joe Burrow and a really good receiver trio. I can respect that.
That's half the team, though. Like if you're completely looking across the board, and I get it. Their offense is, when healthy, top 5 in the NFL, 100%. But they have Dexter Lawrence on defense.
I think quarterback is like you're saying though. Like I think quarterback is maybe a big part of this. Everyone has
the Vikings are at 22
last year, but.
See, I didn't mention the Vikings at 22 because of that reason. Like, I actually respect the roster as a whole, but then you put the Vikings ahead of us, and that argument kind of goes out the window.
Yeah, it kind of breaks it. Yeah, it's true.
But
I don't know, man.
It's a shame. Like you said, I don't know really what much more we could have done from a free agency perspective to get this ranking a little bit higher. I mean, I really don't know what you do. Maybe you add a flashy receiver in the draft, but other than that, I can't. There's nothing I can think of that you can do better in free agency to increase our ranking here.
Yeah, and people keep saying, a lot of people like to say that, the Panthers have done everything right this offseason. They really like our offseason, but nobody wants to call us a good team yet.
Yeah.
I just don't. How many of these good off seasons do we have to have before we're an actual good team?
You're doing everything right until it's time to rank you. Then you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, I've seen multiple, and this is not necessarily roster rankings, but I've seen multiple different the sports news outlets and talk shows and stuff predict the NFC South, and maybe 15% of them have projected us to win the division. And I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, I know we didn't have the best season last year, but I think we got way better, complete whole team, and they're still what did the other teams do? I know the Bucks had a decent draft. What did the Saints do besides add a running back, really? And the Falcons have 2 of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, so I don't get it. That's for all sports reporters across the board, not just local or anything like that. Everybody, like Logan said, everybody keeps saying we had a hell of an offseason. We added probably 2 of the top 4 best free agents that were out there. Again, like Michael said, what do we have to do for people to actually go, okay, this team's actually pretty good?
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
I don't get why people are so high on the Bucks still.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
Your head coach, your head coach should have got fired, and a lot of people in that locker room still do not like him. And then you lose a large part of the core of your roster to retirement or just people leaving. There's going to be a cost to pay there. I get you if Baker Mayfield and he's good and all, but that's not enough to save you.
Yeah, I feel like the big thing people have been pinning their hopes on for the Bucks is that, they signed Alex Anzalone.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
And you lost Lavonte David.
Yeah, dude, it's so all right, you added a solid player. Are you really going to say they improved more than we did this offseason? It's just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of going back to what Logan said, if you look at our complete roster across the board, what holes do you see besides linebacker 2, safety, and I would throw running back in there just because we don't know what Brooks is going to do behind Chuba. If as our third word, question mark. And I hate Nick Scott, so obviously I'm going to throw safety in there. But 2 positions out of 22 positions on the field are question marks, and I would at least give it Nick Scott. He's a starting NFL safety. So 1 position Like that's
Yeah.
it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully we prove a lot of people
Lucas, since,
Go ahead, Michael.
okay.
Sorry?
Lucas, since you're the new guy, like one of the things you have to do is like your initiation to join the show. What do you think of Nick Scott?
Absolutely hate him.
You
We have this
absolutely hate him.
conversation
Okay.
every week when we're talking about Panthers football. Is how much we hate Nick Scott.
I
hate
generally do
Nick
not hate Nick
Scott.
Scott. Like he's not terrible.
Ugh.
He just
It's just the plays. Like he's not terrible, but his mess ups are horrendous. Like he's decent, and then his one bad play a game looks like he shouldn't even belong on a field.
yeah, like there
Yeah.
are times where he looks like he's still learning how to play football.
Yeah,
I think there's times he just gets. It's not even like learning to play football. It's just like he gets tunnel vision, and he doesn't realize like he just blew a play.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Alright.
Yeah, especially as a safety, sometimes some of these missed tackles he makes coming from depth, it hurts, man. That's pretty infuriating to watch him bounce off some of these guys. I feel like he's just not a very good tackler in general.
Yeah, when you have
I did think he played solid enough last year, but I did kind of remember that even though he kind of played solid last year, even with all the missed tackles and everything, that was after like 3 or 4 straight years of being bad or really bad. So I hope that doesn't come back. Because I know y'all will really enjoy that if it does.
I mean,
That's the funny part too. Like last year was like a career year for Nick Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
Like
was
this was
all
like
right.
it wasn't like he was terrible last year.
Yeah,
In
But-
20,
Oh yeah,
I
me
think
and
it was-
Andrew talked about that.
like every week we
Yeah.
talked about it. It was when we like have our personal like game, post game, whatever on the phone or whatever. We talk about it every week. Nick Scott was brought up in some extent.
Nice.
Yeah.
It never failed. It never failed.
Well,
The thing is, we reflected and we were like, you know what's crazy?
Reflected.
Like, if you look at his stats, like he honestly isn't even playing that bad
It's just the one
compared to
play
what he
game.
did the last like 4 years.
Absolutely.
It's because he's always getting beat and just like is happen to be right by the pass catcher as he's making the tackle.
Also,
See, yeah, that's the one thing that makes me the most mad. Is I can't stand watching a safety get beat.
yeah. I also don't think it helps that our opposite safety is more of a linebacker than a safety. And I mean, I love Trayvon Moore, and he can, he makes tackles. He can kind of do both, but he's on the line of almost a linebacker because he's more of a run stopping safety. So it doesn't help that he's like, if Morg's go up, he's kind of by himself back there. Obviously, he's got the corners, but I mean, Nick Scott's not the biggest dude in the world. So, anything that gets over the top, it reflects on Nick Scott. So,
Which he didn't do a lot last year.
not a lot, but when it was bad, it was on the bottom. It was just terrible. And I think I do hate on Nick Scott more than I probably should. I really do. There's obviously a lot more Panthers players in our past that probably deserve a lot more hate, but
Yeah.
on the current team,
It's a fun conversation. Clearly,
yeah,
it's a
because
fun
we have
conversation.
it every week on every episode.
Yeah.
Nick Scott gets brought up every
Hey,
single week.
Dude, I will
Who
say,
knows?
it's like,
Next year it might be Xavier Leggett.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
It might be. Honestly, I hope it is, because if we're hating on Leggett, then hopefully T-Mac and Brazel and Coker and all them are playing good. If our fifth string receiver's playing bad, who cares? And
Yeah.
that's our
See, like, at least-
that's our worst thing.
I don't think Leggett gets the hate that he deserves by like the national media.
Yeah.
Because at least with Nick Scott, like, okay, I can excuse Nick Scott because like a lot of his issues are like physical, like he misses a tackle or he accidentally gets a penalty. Leggett's issues are a lot of times effort related, and that pisses me off. Or just being a dumbass, like
Yeah.
like intentionally or not intentionally, but pretty much going out of your way to step out of bounds on the sideline.
Yeah,
Like,
not
use your
getting a
head,
foot
dude.
down.
Like,
just a bonehead
yeah.
play.
Like
To be
stuff
fair,
like that
he's
is what irritates me.
He's from
And Nick Scott
Mullen,
doesn't
South
do that.
Carolina.
No, what was that?
He's from Mullen, South Carolina. The education system is not that great out there.
Well, that is a fair point.
He's local to us, so we know.
Oh, okay.
All right, so getting into probably not our last topic because we'll talk some more about some other things. So this is just kind of a fun topic. Michael actually brought this up. Michael, I actually let you run this one since you brought it up if you'd like to.
Okay. I was unprepared to brief. Give me
Sorry.
1 second here. Okay.
You brought it up. You take control.
Yep. That's what I get. All right. So we're going to talk about Mac Jones for a second.
Random.
He was on the Bussing with the Boys podcast the other day, which for those of you that don't know is a pretty entertaining podcast if you get the chance to listen to it. Luke Kuechly was on there a few months ago, and it was awesome. But anyway, good show. So Mac Jones said that Scott Fitter and Matt Rule nearly drafted him when he came out in 2021 and didn't because they chickened out. So what this says is we were essentially that close to drafting Mac Jones, when we had Sam Darnold, before we had Bryce Young, and that could have potentially sent a major curveball into Panthers history. So
what could have been?
We bring this up tonight to discuss our thoughts and reminisce about how thankful we are that did not happen. So what do y'all think about it?
Ooh, Mac Jones on the Panthers. What could have been? I mean, looking at the present NFL, I think he's probably top 3 backup quarterback in the NFL. But playing in the 49ers system, that obviously helps some. So that's probably got a lot to say for it. But what he was coming into the NFL and looking, what he did with the Patriots, thank God we didn't draft him because he would not have worked with Matt Rule. Nothing worked with Matt Rule. So it would have probably been worse than what it was, honestly, at the time. So I don't know. What could have been, I guess you could just turn around and look at it that way. What could have been with Mac Jones? It would have been terrible.
What could have been terrible?
Thing,
what was that?
I've watched Mac Jones, his rookie year, play the Panthers.
Oh, yeah, you were there.
Oh, yeah, he played well.
Yeah, he did, and we played terrible.
Yeah.
So
he also, it's interesting.
Think about that.
He accredited, so, if you don't know Mac Jones's career trajectory, he started out in New England under McDaniels and then kind of fell off after McDaniels left. So, you clearly saw how much he valued, the offensive coordinator that he had. And if he had been drafted by Carolina, under Matt Rule and Joe Brady and, whoever else incompetent we had at that time, there's no doubt in my mind that would have been an absolute disaster. And not only do you have, it's really a double whammy too, because not only do we pretty much guarantee ourselves getting a bust of a quarterback, we also miss out on drafting J.C. Horn. And who knows where our defense would be today if we had not drafted him.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Kind of flipping the question, do you think Joe Brady could have taken Mac Jones somewhere?
Absolutely not.
Not at that time.
Yeah, I think at the time the Panthers were just not in a good place.
Yeah.
Joe Brady
didn't
was
have the
still
offensive
fresh
line.
and
That's an argument point.
No one there. Yeah.
The offensive line we had in 2021 was maybe the worst in team history.
Yeah. And Mac Jones, I think it has gotten better. The Shanahan system, I think it both makes it easy for quarterbacks and it also just does genuinely improve the game of the quarterbacks that come through there. So I think we're probably seeing a better Mac Jones than we did for most of his time in the league beforehand. I know he had some all right times in New England, but he also had that time where, they have him throw twice in the entire game and still managed to win. And by the way, I will say I will always still hate this dude for that kind of run of chicken shit plays he had. The gator roll on Brian Burns or the time he slid and kicked that dude in where the sun don't shine and crap like that. I don't know, man. This guy just gives off this kind of mean maybe, but this guy just looks like he just looks like he's a crafty person to me. I do not like Mac Jones. I'm glad we didn't pick him up.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I feel like best case scenario in that particular instance is he plays well enough to keep us from going anywhere, and he's like that kind of purgatory quarterback that everybody tries to stay away from. Where he's not good enough to get you anywhere real, but he's good enough to get you a couple wins, so you can't draft anybody like actually good.
It keeps you mid,
Yeah, yeah.
pretty much.
Honestly, the best case scenario is probably he just genuinely sucks, and then we don't have to trade up to draft Bryce Young in 2023.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
probably the best case scenario.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then we
the
still have
actual
DJ
second
Moore and
there.
all that. So, but yeah,
That would be
like, I
pretty
literally
sweet.
see no path of that ever working.
Again,
Yeah, yeah.
As long as he's starting under Matt Rule, like he will, and that crappy offensive line that we had, like he had no chance for success here.
Yeah, Mac Jones may
Or he
not
would
be
have
in
had
the
no
league
chance.
if he played under Matt Rule.
There are a lot of people that aren't.
That's a good point, but he could have been another one for sure. For sure. So this kind of takes us into I guess our last topic of the night's been a pretty quick episode, but this could probably run us a little while. So Michael also brought this one up, but Michael, I'll actually run through this one for you so you don't get put on the spot. So looking back at Panthers history and looking at the things that almost happened, and again, this is kind of going off of if we had drafted Mac Jones, something that the Panthers almost did that didn't happen that we're thankful for, and thank God it didn't happen. And I'll actually start with this one since Michael kind of gave me my idea for it. But in hindsight, looking at it now, thank God we didn't trade for Deshaun Watson. And at the time that all that was going on, I was on my phone, on the computer, any website I could get any tip on to see if we were getting Deshaun Watson. I was 100% for it because at the time we didn't have a quarterback. Literally, it was like anybody that wants to come play quarterback at Carolina, welcome them in with open arms.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, exactly. I was searching the web, refreshing the web page every 5-10 minutes at work. I was on Twitter, refreshing the page every 5-10 minutes. I was wanting Deshaun Watson. I didn't care what the price was. 4 or 5 first-round picks, send it, pay the dude $400 million, didn't care, get him to Carolina. That was, I was all for Deshaun Watson. Not that I'm a Clemson fan, but I did watch a lot of him in college. And in college, great quarterback. He was fun to watch. I thought if we got Deshaun Watson, we were a 12-13 win team every year. I really did. He was a hell of a player, even his first couple of years in the NFL. What he showed, the promise he showed. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it the AFC Championship game or the divisional game against the Chiefs? Divisional game. Yeah. So making it all the way there, early in his career, I was all for it. Quarterbacks like that do not come available often, if at all. And just a little side bit here, when Lamar was apparently available from the Ravens, I was the same way. I was like, go get him, pay whatever. But sticking with Deshaun Watson, I was all for it, but looking at hindsight, thank God we didn't do that. What could have been for the Panthers organization to pay a quarterback, $250 million, and then he barely play. Would have been in a shithole. But I was definitely one riding the wave. I was like, bring Deshaun Watson. Bring out the red carpet for him. Bring him home. But that's mine.
The other thing that was so stressful about that whole era was that not only were the Panthers trying to trade for him, but the Falcons and Saints were also in on it.
Yeah.
So it was like you had to get him, or otherwise your division rival was going to get him and kill you for the next 3 or 4 years, at least.
Yeah.
So, like, the stakes were unimaginably high to land him.
Absolutely.
And the Browns seemingly came out of nowhere at the end and stole him. And they've been paying for it ever since.
Yeah. And the Falcons had put in a massive offer. Like, they were basically sitting at the table. And then, like you said, the Browns swooped in and said, no, we'll get him. And, like, the Browns
It was the guaranteed money that did it. The guaranteed money was ultimately why he went to Cleveland.
Yeah.
And they're still paying for that today. Like, literally and figuratively paying for that today.
Hey, who knows?
To the point where he's the favorite. Yeah, he's the favorite to be the starter right now.
Because of the money.
Yeah.
So that's mine. Mike, that just offside here. That was Michael's to start with, but that's the main one that I can think of that I was like truly invested in the whole entire time it was going on. So I had to steal it from Michael.
No, you're good. And honestly, I think mine's like it's at least more entertaining. Just because of the aftermath of what happened. So the move that I'm very thankful we did not make is Thank God we did not draft Isaiah Simmons over Derek Brown in 2020.
Oh yeah.
And the reason I bring that up is I don't know if you guys remember the fallout of that draft pick, but Panthers fans were livid about that.
I was one of them.
Everybody, hands up. Like, I was one of them too, and that's part of the reason I'm bringing it up. Like, everybody and their mom was pissed off about this. Like, everybody was saying, you should. This is right after Luke Kuechly retired, so we're missing a linebacker. You know, our run defense had sucked the year before, but like we felt like our defense was so stripped of talent that we needed a playmaker, and that's what Simmons was viewed as. And so, you know, the overwhelming vibe in Carolina was like, hey, if he's there, like, we need to grab him. And then sure enough, he falls to us at 7 in the middle of the COVID draft. And, you know, we're all ready to take him. We're all celebrating, you know, doing what partying we can during, you know, the quarantine. And the Panthers end up, you know, drafting Derek Brown. And the other thing that made that really bad was that it was Marty Herney who picked him. And Marty Herney is known to be like a guy who will always value the trenches over anything.
Yeah.
So it just added to our anger. But boy, has that worked out for us since. I mean, we saw in 24. Yeah, we saw in 2024 what our defense looks like without Derek Brown. And that's not a sight I want to see again.
And people hated Derek Brown before the season started, and he, you know, showed a little glimpse of what he was. People were hating Derek Brown at that time.
Oh yeah, I mean, people didn't like him, you know, pretty much until his third year.
Yeah,
because he had that stretch where he struggled in his second year under Phil Snow, and so people were really not happy to have him.
What?
Dude, I've got like to toot my own horn a little bit. I will say I'm one of the proud fans that was pretty excited to get Derek Brown at the time. I liked Isaiah Simmons, don't get me wrong, but I really like Derek Brown too. And I've got receipts on it in the early stages of my page. I like half my story posts were like responding to people that were hating on Derek Brown because I didn't think it was deserved. I will say part of that is though, admittedly, that I just really like defensive linemen. I just think it's the coolest position on the field. So I was kind of like Marty Herney in that way. And so like to that end, I'd probably throw in an add-on there. And that I don't know if this was so much in consideration for the Panthers, but a lot of people were putting Javon Kinlaw like right up there with him as like a little bit more of a boomer bust prospect, but one that's a little bit more pass rush oriented. And I like Javon Kinlaw a lot too. I wouldn't have been mad on draft night if we drafted Javon Kinlaw, but I would have been very mad come, you know, right around now if we did, because he's already on his next team with the Commanders, and they don't even like where he's at price tag wise there either.
Yeah.
So we dodged a whole nother bullet there as well, between Simmons and Kinlaw. Surprisingly nailed it.
Yeah, surprised that we nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another, just a crazy Panther stat, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was probably the closest, but we still have not drafted a Clemson player, right? That still stands.
Nothing I can think of.
Yeah. That was probably the closest.
Still going.
Which is crazy because they're, you know, like the closest team to us, and every year there's always one player at some round in the draft that's always like, oh, Carolina's going to draft their first Clemson player, and it never happens.
It's funny too because we're always drafting South Carolina players.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like it's almost like Tepper knows he's messing with us and just wants to like keep it up.
Yeah.
So far,
I'm cool with that. I hate Clemson.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Logan, you got yours?
Yeah, man.
Well,
dude, honestly, man, I was going to mention the Simmons thing. I also just want to mention Kinlaw. I just think it's so hard that, well, you know, we're talking about what bullets the Panthers have dodged lately, and I feel like much more often we're kind of like running in front of bullets.
I have an extra one.
Outside of like Watson and Brown, I really have a hard time thinking of anything else.
Yeah, Michael.
You want another one?
Yeah,
I'll let you touch on this, but I'll give it to you. Thank God Andy Dalton broke his thumb in 2024.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. There we go. That's a good one.
More recent, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like you. I'm the point guard. I'm just throwing you the ball.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. Well, yeah. It's like, man, because Bryce Young looked atrocious those first 2 weeks. He looked unplayable.
Mm-hmm.
So if he didn't give Dave Canales a good reason to put him back on the field. That might not have happened, at least not for a while. And maybe that kind of leads to another one too. I think maybe not. This is partially related, right? Because we all know that Bryce Young came in and he started playing a lot better, even than Andy Dalton, pretty much immediately. I know those first two games were still kind of ramp up games, but they were better. If Deontay Johnson had just stuck around for a little longer and kept his mouth shut and not gotten himself canned, I think he might still be on the team. He'd be making a lot of money somewhere because Bryce Young was balling out the whole rest of that year. And Deontay Johnson was a leading receiver up until he, pissed everybody off. So, complaining about the quarterback when one of the interceptions was from a lazy route. So maybe that's, I guess, how you could consider it a bullet dodge, because we might still have this player on our team that's, a little bit of a classic wide receiver diva. Yeah. Especially because, at that time, we're kind of in the stage where, we just got to pay solid players a lot of money because we're such a bad team, and we got to reward, anything we can get.
Right.
So that's maybe another one. That's a good catch about the Andy Dalton thing.
My thing was I would have loved to have known what the plan was at that time for Bryce Young after they benched him in 24. Because Andy Dalton was playing, I won't say he was playing well, but he was playing decent when, until he got hurt. He was playing pretty decent. So there was never really any, explanation or really, notice given to the fans as to what the plan was with Bryce Young. There were talks that we were going to trade him to Miami for, a third-round pick. There were talks that Dalton could be the guy, for the entire year, or that Bryce may come back at some point. We just never know, and we never know what the long-term plan was for Bryce Young, or what the long-term plan was for Bryce Young at that point in time. So
what a season!
It creates a really interesting scenario, and I'll tell you, we don't win the division this year if we don't have Bryce Young.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One little, I wouldn't say thank God it didn't happen, but I've seen this one multiple times in the past few years just because of how every little detail kind of worked itself out. Was when we played Atlanta with PJ Walker and DJ Moore took his helmet off. People always look back at that recently and go, if he didn't take his helmet off, we wouldn't have Bryce Young on our team. Because we lost that game, and then that got us to, I think, that was a couple games before the season ended. So that got us to the 8th pick. And if we were farther out of the 8th pick, we might not could have traded up with Chicago to get the first pick, the draft Bryce.
Yeah.
So people always, I've seen a lot of things on Twitter about that one too. People are what if DJ Moore didn't take his helmet off, and we'd have won that game with PJ Walker? Who would have been our
That's
quarterback?
interesting because I think there's a good case to be made that we would have a better roster now if we had won the division in 2022, because we would have avoided the Bears trade where we gave the Bears the entire house to go get Bryce. Now I will say, and Sam Darnold, he was looking good at the end of that year.
Yeah.
We really we don't know how that would look. Now, I don't think we were ever going to win the Super Bowl with Steve Wilkes, and I think Dave Canales now gives us a much better chance to do that, especially with Bryce Young, than Sam Darnold and Steve Wilkes ever would have. And I think at best we just end up, being the one and done team in the playoffs every year. But it's really interesting to look into.
Yeah.
Because at that time we were just scrapping for anything that we could get our hands on as far as looking good for the future goes. I mean that Panthers squad went 7-10, and it was the greatest season we had ever had.
Yeah, we had a shutout that year.
So yeah, we kicked the crap out of Detroit on Thanksgiving or on Christmas Eve.
What a time to be alive!
Yeah,
we were scrapping for one win.
Yeah.
Now hopefully we're division winners at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're shooting for. Cool.
So.
Got to prove it again, because all these freaking media people don't want to buy in yet. So we just got to go out there and have another. We have an actual good season this time. We can't have another losing season.
I can't wait.
Hopefully we get it. Yeah,
we're almost there.
Yeah,
we've almost made it through the hard part of the year with no football. We're almost there, guys.
Yep,
Yeah.
less than 3 days.
Oh,
Less than 30
After
days.
at least we play in the Hall of Fame game.
Less than
So we don't
30
have to wait as
days
long.
until we get to see our GOAT, Haynes King, play quarterback.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so entertaining.
Can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
I expect either every play to either be like a 10-yard scramble or like an attempted 50-yard bomb.
Hail Mary or quarterback run.
Yeah. Seriously.
I honestly, and again, this is just something fun to talk about. I really hope he goes out there and throws for 300 yards and 3
I do
touchdowns.
too.
That
I
would be
really
insane.
hope he balls out in that game. That'd be hilarious.
that'd be pretty fun.
And hey, on our podcast, we can be the ones that say we called it. We knew he was going to be good.
Yep.
We were the
Sorry.
original Haynes King fans.
Yeah.
Nobody can ever.
I'll tell you what though, and we'll talk about this as we get closer to that game. I really hope we just don't see 2 or 3 quarters of Will Grier,
Yeah, we've already seen that.
because that will make me hate football more than anything. I mean, Will Grier is one of the worst quarterbacks I have ever seen in a Panthers uniform.
Yeah, I thought we were done. With that, but now.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly too thrilled to see that we brought him back.
I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
But-
Cool. Anybody got anything to add? A little short, fun episode. Again, we're a few weeks out from football. Actual stuff to talk about coming up.
No, I'm good, man.
Everybody good?
Super excited.
Yeah, I'm good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Lucas, thank you for joining us. No, you didn't say much, but you hung out with us and had a couple points to add in. That was great. Again, make sure you tune in every week. I know we have a couple missed weeks in there, but it's holidays, personal life stuff coming up for everybody. So we try to post every week. We thank to everybody that does tune in on Spotify and YouTube to watch us. And we'll be back for episode 12 next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, and hey, if you have suggestions for things to talk about, please give them to us.
Yeah.
We're in the last 3 weeks of the off season. Just please help us out. We're calling it anything at this point.
Yeah, hey, and if you do watch on YouTube, hey, Michael and Logan's Instagram page is on there, so feel free to shoot them a DM, give them an idea. We'll shout you out if it's your idea, and we'll talk about it for you. And again, our Discord's on here above my name on YouTube, so make sure you join that. We talk Panthers football every day, mostly all sports, so feel free to join in on that before the season starts. We got a good group of people in there. But yeah, shoot us some ideas if you want to talk about it. Like I said, we'll shout you out. But yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right, see you guys.
See you guys.